For years, Prada had been fading. A once respected fashion house, slowly slipping into the background, while newer, louder brands took over. Stores were empty, the designs felt directionless, and critics started calling the brand outdated. But then, almost out of nowhere, Prada flipped the script. It didn't shout, it didn't chase trends, and it didn't rely on hype. Instead, it staged one of the quietest and smartest comebacks in modern fashion. So what changed? Who stepped in? And how did a brand on the edge of irrelevance turn into one of the most influential names in the industry again? Prada wasn't always the cultural force we know today. For most of its life, it was a quiet luxury house built on fine leather goods and old-world craftsmanship. Nothing loud, nothing flashy. Just discreet elegance for a small circle of loyal clients. Then came Miuccia Prada, an unlikely leader with a background in political science, mime training, and a deep interest in art. She didn't look or act like a traditional fashion designer. But that outsider mindset became her biggest strength. Still, even with her vision, the brand hit a wall. The world changed, trends shifted, and Prada found itself struggling to stay relevant. What makes this comeback so impressive is that Prada didn't reinvent itself with shock value or celebrity drama. It rebuilt its identity with ideas, design, and a slow but calculated strategy. And that's why the brand's return is considered one of the smartest turnarounds in modern fashion. By the late 2000s, Prada was losing its grip. The brand had expanded too fast, opening stores around the world without a clear plan. At the same time, luxury fashion was shifting toward louder logos, streetwear, and fast-moving trends. Prada wasn't built for that kind of noise. Its strength had always been subtlety and intellect. But subtlety doesn't always win when the market starts chasing instant hype. Designs that once felt ahead of their time suddenly looked disconnected. Collections were hit or miss. Critics said the brand had lost its direction, and younger shoppers didn't see Prada as something fresh or exciting. Financially, things were getting tight. Sales slowed down, competitors gained ground, and the company started to feel the pressure of a changing industry. For a moment, it looked like Prada's quiet approach might finally be the reason for its decline. But this low point was also the setup for one of fashion's most unexpected rebounds. The shift didn't happen overnight. It started quietly, the same way Prada has always moved. Miuccia Prada began rethinking what the brand stood for. Instead of chasing trends, she stripped everything back and focused on the ideas that made Prada different in the first place. Fashion insiders were the first to notice. A few collections started to feel sharper, more confident, almost like Prada was rediscovering its own voice. The shapes were unusual again, the fabrics felt experimental, and the runway shows had that familiar tension that only Prada could create. Slowly, critics changed their tone, buyers returned, people started paying attention. It wasn't a loud comeback, but it was a clear signal that something inside the brand had shifted. This moment wasn't just about better designs. It was the spark that would lead to a much bigger reinvention, one that would put Prada back at the center of the fashion conversation. Prada's comeback really took shape when Miuccia leaned into what made the brand unique. Instead of trying to look luxurious in the traditional sense, she embraced something far more interesting. Prada became the home of ugly chic, a style that challenged what beauty was supposed to look like. The clothes were intellectual, awkward, and sometimes intentionally strange. Heavy fabrics matched with delicate pieces. Colors that shouldn't work together somehow did. Silhouettes looked sharp, almost uncomfortable, but unforgettable. This wasn't fashion meant to be pretty. It was fashion meant to make you think. And in an industry drowning in sameness, that stood out. At the same time, Prada shifted back to minimalism. Clean lines, refined tailoring, and a modern simplicity that felt fresh instead of nostalgic. These choices separated the brand from others chasing bold logos and fast trends. The strategy worked. Fashion critics praised the collections. Stylists brought the pieces back onto red carpets, and younger audiences started seeing Prada as something unexpected and original again. By trusting its own identity, Prada didn't just survive, it evolved. The real turning point came in 2020, when Miuccia Prada made a move no one saw coming. She brought in Raf Simons as co-creative director, one of the most respected designers in modern fashion. It wasn't a replacement, it was a partnership. Two sharp, creative minds building the brand together. Raf brought a modern edge, clean structure, precise tailoring, a focus on youth and subculture that matched perfectly with Miuccia's intellectual, experimental approach. Their first collections together sent a clear message. Prada was no longer trying to catch up, it was leading again. The runways had a new confidence, the campaigns felt sharper. The designs blended simplicity with bold ideas in a way that only this duo could pull off. This collaboration didn't just refresh Prada's image, it gave the brand a new direction, one that connected with both longtime fans and a new generation discovering Prada for the first time. As the creative side grew stronger, the business followed. Prada started tightening its strategy. Fewer stores, better locations, and a clear focus on quality instead of constant expansion. The brand also invested in sharper marketing, turning its runway shows into cultural moments and leaning into visuals that felt modern and intentional. Menswear became a major driver. Simple nylon pieces, tailored overcoats, and clean uniforms started going viral. Younger shoppers gravitated toward Prada's balance of minimalism and personality, especially on social platforms. At the same time, the company doubled down on digital. Better storytelling, smarter campaigns. A quiet confidence that matched the brand's identity. Sales went up, demand grew, and Prada began climbing the ranks again. Not because it chased hype, but because it understood the value of timing, design, and long-term identity. The comeback was no longer just creative, it was financial, cultural, and strategic. Prada's return wasn't the result of luck or a sudden trend. It was the result of a brand choosing to think differently. While the industry ran toward loud logos and fast moments, Prada doubled down on ideas, craft, and identity. Miuccia Prada trusted her instincts, embraced change, and later teamed up with Raf Simons to reshape the future of the house. Together, they built a version of Prada that feels sharp, modern, and grounded in everything that made the brand special in the first place. Today, Prada stands as one of fashion's quiet kings. Not because it shouted the loudest, but because it understood when to evolve, when to take risks, and when to stay true to itself. The comeback wasn't loud. It was strategic, thoughtful, and deliberate. And that's exactly what makes it one of the smartest turnarounds in modern fashion.